people anymore. You've given them everything.
Not everything. Not yet.
All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to the BCD. I'm here with Lucas and SJ at the Rising Tide Academy. Here we do Jiu Jitsu as well as Muay Thai and some MMA. These two guys are people who have experience in both, and they also have experience competing. So, what I wanted to do today was ask them a few questions, a little bit about their journey in terms of Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, where they started, where they are, and where they want to end up. Either one of you guys could start off first.
Let me start. Okay.
Tell the people your name and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Lucas. I've been training for around like 9 to 10 years now. I'm 23. It's been quite a while. I started off first off wrestling back in high school. Actually, no, that was wrong. So I actually started off doing Muay Thai as a little kid in Florida for self defense. My parents wanted to put me in self defense to help me getting bullied for a hot minute. And they were like, yeah, that's not good. You should probably do Muay Thai. My brother's been doing Jiu Jitsu for a long time. He's a black belt. And my brother was like, yo, put this kid in Muay Thai. Like, make at least, if he can at least throw a punch, so he can defend himself. And then after that, I got into wrestling during high school. And then I really fell in love with grappling during that time. And I was like, this is fun. I feel like super athletic, I'm not really necessarily hurting people, but when I strike, when I throw punches, I'm really just grabbing them, throwing them to the ground, and that's the end of the fight. I don't really need to almost like a Mortal Kombat fatality and finish them. As long as they're on the ground, I'm safe, they're safe, we're all good.
So, my name is SJ. A little insight on how SJ, the name SJ came to play. People kept butchering my name. The name didn't start till 2021. But going back to how I started mixed martial arts in general, I grew up being being a fat boy my whole life. I tried every single sport, not every single sport, but most sports that Americans would play, like football, basketball, soccer, even tennis. I even tried that. Nothing clicked to me as much as mixed martial arts did. I started off boxing, Muay Thai, and Jiu Jitsu all at the same time. So, yeah, it took me a while to get used to everything, having to do them back to back. But I stuck with it. I kept going. And the feeling that a lot of basketball players and football players feel when they hold the football or they hold the rock in basketball, it's like they feel good about themselves. For me, when I put on gloves like 16-ounce gloves or MMA gloves, I feel like Thanos. I feel like like damn, I got this. But at the end of the day, it's like not anybody's supposed to get punched or kicked in the face every single time. But it's only a handful of people that can keep going, right? Like Max Holloway from many years ago, when he was talking about giving up, he's like, I'm not trying to be a bitch. Like, giving up is for losers. I ain't no loser. I'm a winner. And trust me, when I say this to the camera, there's a guy's name that comes into play. His name is Mawina Lassie. You will remember his name more than you will remember not mine, because I will make it big in the MMA world. And once I do, I'm coming for it all. And Mawina Lassie's name is gonna be said every single time.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Either one of you can answer this next question. So, you two are of a rare bunch where you do like you're mixed martial artists. You're not professionals yet, but boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, like you run into a lot more people who are like me, which is I have like 5 years of Muay Thai, but I only like roughly a year, maybe a year and a half of Jiu Jitsu. It's just like, there's a clear preference in it. So what is it that made you guys have so much variety? Like, was it, a coach promoting that variety? Was it knowing that I want to be as well versed as possible? Was it, how did you guys get here? And was there anything that you can point to as a driving force?
I can answer that real quick. One of my coaches from my old gym, Coach Brian Henderson, when I first started, I kid you not, when I first started his class, the first time I took it was on a Saturday. I went up to him when he was talking to one of the students. I was like, "Hey, coach, my name is SJ. I'm going to get my ass kicked, and I'm okay with it." And he laughed. He was like, "Man, don't say that." Like, and he told me this one time. He was like, "I didn't think you were going to last a week. Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, and boxing, n- coaches aren't supposed to support you fighting. They're supposed to talk you out of fighting. They're going to ask you, like, hey, why are you fighting? Do you have a reason to fight? Why the fuck are you getting yourself into this?" It's kind of up to us to keep going. No one's going to hold your hand and be like, hey, do this. Hey, do this. You got to dedicate your own time into this. And if you don't dedicate your own time, you won't become successful. That's in everything. That's even in life. You don't dedicate time to certain things, you are not becoming successful. And I will stamp on that.
What I have to say about the choosing which martial art for me about doing everything was, I know at the end of the day, boxing is good for stand up. Muay Thai, good stand up, right? Jiu Jitsu, good grappling. Wrestling, good grappling, right? And there is no one martial art for everything, right? That's why when you say MMA, right, it's different styles combined together. Just Jiu Jitsu, and then there's a street fight scenario, and guess what? You're gonna do a double leg takedown on a dude, and then you're gonna eat the concrete, you know? So you need to know a little bit of everything, I feel like, especially when it comes to defending yourself. It's very important how to throw a punch, how to throw a kick, how to, if the scenario goes bad and you're on the ground, how to defend yourself in each place, right? And not just be a specialist and just be like, oh, yeah, no matter what, boom, my jab, boom, I'm a boxer. He's never going to hit me. Maybe he takes you down, and guess what's going to happen? There's nothing you can do. So knowing and having your ego checked to be like, look, it might not happen, but there's going to be a scenario where it might. Having that ego check and being like, look, I got to be realistic with myself and be like, if I do get taken down, do I at least know how to protect myself on the ground? If I do, if you're a jiu-jitsu guy and you're like, if this guy just start throwing hands and they're just too fast, do I know how to at least block them? So that's for me the most important thing is having a common ground with everything.
Uh,
Can
Go
I
ahead.
add something into
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
So a lot of the stuff he said was really good and well said. One thing that sets Rising Tide High Tech aside from other gyms in the area, or Rising Tide Academy and Rising Tide High Tech that sets other gyms aside, um, is here we also teach the art of self defense. So it's not Krav Maga. I'm not saying that bullshit. I'm talking about actual self defense, where House and Gracie teaches you what if a guy has a knife to your head or a gun to your head, or if he's punching at you, how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your head? Right? The first thing they'll teach you in self defense is to how to assess the situation. You aren't going guns blazing trying to knock the guy out because he's trying to hurt you. No, you step back, assess the situation, try to calm down the guy. And if the guy doesn't calm down, he's willing at you, I'm gonna fucking knock you out. That's it.
Yeah. Well, no, that was actually, I wasn't thinking the exact same thing, but I was thinking along those lines, and that helped me with my next question, which is I'm taking a couple of different parts from everything that happened. The first one is something along the lines of what SJ said in reference to, we're not naturally born to fight. The second one is the importance of self-defense and how that plays with different things. And the third thing is the difference between how Rising Tide pays attention to the application of the actual combat sports. The first thing, it is stated that humans and creatures are innately built to wrestle, but boxing and hands and kicks are not natural for people. Um, Do you guys feel that at all? And how do you think the environment plays, whether it was the day you started or coming to a gym like Rising Tide, with how you naturally feel a client to something? And I'll give you an example before you answer, which is, for me, I grew up learning how to box essentially as a survival tool. So the first time I ever came into a gym, I knew how to box. Literally, my coach was like, "Have you taken boxing?" And I was like, "Kind of," but I do need to know how to kick. And for me, self defense was life. So we learned how to box and defend ourselves, not innately, but as a tool for survival, in which I spent a long time never getting on the ground or practicing ground techniques, because the fights I had been in, if you had gone to the ground, it was a very bad situation. You cannot go to the ground outside on the concrete with someone who's heavier than you, for example. I'm a small guy. Somebody pick me up, dump me on my head in the concrete. It's like, nah. We got to use our hands and our feet and our elbows. And do you feel like, um, where you have learned your discipline has helped you with the application of it? Because you just said something along the lines of, we teach self-defense here, and I love to hear that, because a lot of times I run into jiu-jitsu and I'm like, well, what are you going to do when this happens? So, oh, and it's not like an answer to it. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So
I have an answer to that. So we also have to take into consideration the different ways jujitsu has been used, especially in the Gracie family or whatever affiliate you are affiliated under. Each jujitsu style is different. House and Gracie's is the names I know on the top of my tongue are House and Gracie, which is his jujitsu incorporates self defense, and then you got Henzo Gracie, which a lot of his stuff it's more competition based. There's no self defense in it. Well, I mean there is some, but not a lot. When it comes to like how I feel doing this stuff, not everybody can throw a punch correctly. Not everybody can throw a kick correctly. But one thing people have to consider and take into consideration, nothing will happen overnight. Nothing will happen if you take 3 hours of classes a week and you expect to become the best fighter out there. No, you got to put your own time into this, right? And I like the way you use the word discipline and not motivation, because a lot of people tend to idealize that, oh, I'm motivated to do this, I'm motivated to do this, I'm motivated to do this. Well, motherfucker, there's no motivation. It's discipline. You wake up, you do the same exact thing every single day till you get tired of it, and then you keep doing it anyways. You keep going and you keep showing up. That's the most important thing, is showing up. Not a lot of people will show up into that front door expecting to become the best. Whatever gym it is, whatever school you want to go to, get yourself in there, try the class, take the class, then move forward from there. Now, none of us are going to be perfect at this game. We're all students of the game, right? I'm Muslim, right? Allah is everything to me, right? God is everything to me. I memorize the Quran, I fast in Ramadan, I pray 5 times a day. There's no motivation to worship a god. You're not motivated to do it. You're disciplined to do it. It's just become your lifestyle. And when I say that, into and not to combine religion to martial arts, but
feel free.
when you go into martial arts, I feel like as a Muslim, we need to come into the gym to learn to protect ourselves. Whether you're a man or woman, you need to come in and learn to protect yourself and your family. You need to be able to know how to assess certain situations. For example, we've seen that TikTok and Instagram video of the lady's cart going down a road and she kept falling because she couldn't get herself up.
Yeah.
Now that scared me. I was like, I do never want to be in a situation where I'm running and I fell and I can't get up and my baby's going down the freaking road knowing it might get hit by cars and whatnot. Second thing, cleanliness, purity. Jiu-jitsu, Any martial arts, we say clip your toenails, clip your nails, take showers, keep yourself clean, make sure you smell good, right?
They say common sense isn't
It's
common.
it's common sense. Like, you
Yeah.
have to. I'm not gonna roll with a guy that's like stinks like butt. No, like, go put on some deodorant or go take a shower, then I'll come roll with you.
Some dudes use that as defense.
Yeah, but in Islam, we also teach you that we should be doing that anyways. So it teaches you to be pure anyways. When we pray 5 times a day, we have to make wudu. We do it anyways.
Mhm.
So what's the only thing that's setting aside from you is to come in and actually learn something. No one's telling you to go fight. No one's telling you to go step into a ring or a cage. You're doing it for your own self, and you're getting into shape. A lot of the mental health issues that happen in society nowadays is most probably because of physical health.
You know,
Either they're not eating right or they're not working out correctly. I mean, that's not to say other people do have depression, right? I am a strong believer that people can feel sad, but how do you overcome that sadness? How do you overcome that? And in Islam, we also say it's sunnah to smile. Whenever I'm teaching my kids class or I'm assisting the kids classes, one thing I will always ask them to do is, where's my smile at? I ask them that every you go up to any kid, Coach SJ's first thing is gonna be, where's my smile at? That's it. And
Answer your first question, because one thing I did when I started doing martial arts is pick up an anatomy book, especially as a jiu-jitsu fighter. I think that's very important to know all your breaking points, to know how the body moves the way it does, and how to manipulate correctly. Humans, I would say, are not inherently good at fighting. Number one, we don't have claws, right? We're not the fastest animal. We don't do much of really, there's no specifics, right? What we do have is endurance and intelligence. Those are two main human factors that we use. But fighting, you get a human being, you put him against a bear, what do you think is going to happen? Or you put him against a shark, or you put him against a different type of animal. They're usually not going to win, right? So I would say we're not really good at it. But just because we're not good at it doesn't mean that we should give up on it, right? I feel like learning how to defend yourself, learning what or not, what's it called? Being in a place of violence, especially in the US, you need to know how to control yourself, how to breathe, and how to maintain your posture, right? There's a lot of places here in the US where it's comfortable and it's okay. That's good. That's perfectly fine. But there are people here that don't know or never have thrown a punch, never have done those things that they needed to, right? They absolutely needed to. Nope. They haven't been in that situation where it was that life or death situation. And God forbid, nobody should go through that. But that's just not how life is. I feel like, me personally, violence is a tool. You can use it for good or you can use it for bad. You can use it for good, as in some dude is coming at you and you know how to fight, and you're like, look, man, de escalate. I don't want to do this. I'm going to walk away. Or you can use it for bad. And there are plenty of examples for that. But it's really up to you on how you want to use it and what type of person you want to be with it. So,
another thing I like to relate is, before I lose this thought process, we also got to take into consideration we live in the US, so don't be stupid and go picking fights, because some people do carry guns and knives and weaponries in bags like this. I don't carry anything, but people do carry. So don't be stupid expecting the guy to not pull out his gun or his knife at you. And then now you got to worry about, oh shoot, now I got to worry about a gun and a knife, and now I'm about to die essentially, right? Second thing is, I've been in situations where being bullied and, not fitting in was my lifestyle. Like, I can't remember the day that I didn't try to fit myself in. It's like fitting a circle into a square. It doesn't fit. It's never gonna fit in the box. It's never get you. If you try to put a circle into a piece where a square is supposed to go, it's not gonna go in. nothing. I never fell in love with any other sport other than, I say sport because I've always loved God and I always loved the Quran, but no, I've never fell in love with anything else other than mixed martial arts. I feel every time I step foot on the mats, it's that, you know how you like have like for instance, like your head is like filled up, like if you feel like an airhead, and then when you move your jaw, like all that pressure comes out. I feel that every single time I step on the mats, and I kid you not, I feel like that every single time. I feel like that pressure just went.
A lot of people long for that feeling. Not you have something you want to say something?
Oh no, go ahead.
A lot of people long for that feeling. I'm gonna close it out here because I feel like what we have this is about 20 minutes, but you guys did a very good job at presenting your story and tying it together. Well, one thing you guys both just said that I want to conclude and make sure that the message is heard would be, when it comes to self-defense and violence, uh, at times people can make me feel as though I am too observative of it. But as you mentioned it, the world is a dangerous place in America, especially. So I'll say this: violence is never the answer. And I'm not saying that because Lucas meant that, but I'm saying it to be semantical and say that in reality, if we move forward as humans, if we put our best foot forward, we never have to fight. We never have to get into any conflict. And as someone who comes from a place of conflict, I can tell you that each and every one of us can make active steps to not actually ever have to engage in violence. Because what we do here isn't violence, it's a sport. And that's the difference. And not really in this video, but moving forward, one big topic I want to dive into is the difference between a discipline, a tradition, a sport, and that word violence, which is, if you have to defend yourself, you might just have to get violent. But what we do here in the gym, as Ashley just said, when you walk and you have a home and you have somewhere where you can come and feel that release, that's, so much more than, we're not practicing violence here. We're practicing the same things you learn in religion. I'm trying to find the right words for them, but we're practicing having homeostasis in our body, having mantras, we're practicing conditioning, we're practicing strength, things that are important to our life. And yes, sometimes on the outside looking in, like the violence get, we're sparring, we're rolling, whatever it is, people can look at us and go, that's violence. But one big difference about being in a gym versus being on the street, I can tell you personally, is the violence aspect. When you make it to the gym, generally speaking, your gym won't be violent. That's what makes it a gym. You run into people outside, they might be violent because you never know.
And every time you spar or fight with somebody, it's like right after you spar, you dap them up and you hug them. Be like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah.
go around, man. That was like a hard." And you guys are like, we're going guns blazing, like we're trying to almost take each other's heads off.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
right at the end of the round, you dap them up, you hug them, like, "Hey, man, go around." Like that was a good work. But versus on the street, like you said, like the guy's trying to take your head off, but he's not gonna dap you up afterwards.
No, that's a perfect example. Uh, that's what I learned. When I was younger, we knew not to put your hands on anyone unless you were ready for it to go everywhere. Uh, like you said, to me and Eshay just sparred. I look up, Eshay smiling at me. Oh, yeah, it's cool. We're having fun out here. But yeah,
Every time you hit me, you're like a clean shot. I'll smile at you like,
yeah, and that's the sport of it. Versus, even to the today, you guys can Google it, not you specifically, but the audience. There are families who have been beefing for hundreds of years because one of them got punched in the face. I'm gonna just leave it at that. That is a fact.
Yeah.
You guys good? Are you gonna?
Just to add to that final part, I feel like there are like 3 to 4 different types of fights, right?
Mhm.
There's your competitive rules. There is a set rule between two people, or how many. Honestly, nowadays there's like MMA, like group fights or whatever. But there is a set rule, set conditions, right? That's one type of fight. Let's call that competitive fighting, right? And then there's the second one. Would it be more like street fighting? Would it be, it's a disagreement. It is a little anger. There is violence. But at the end of the day, usually what happens is one knocks each other out, and then everybody's like, all right, that's enough. That we stop.
Go
Right
home
there,
for the day.
hopefully we stop. And then there's the third one, which is the survival one, right? Where you have to go all out and you can't stop, right? This is do or die. There's and that's the three different types, right? You gotta understand the three, right? You got rules, you got kind of rules, kind of no, you got rules of respect. You're not gonna hit somebody in the nuts in a street fight, or usually, right? There's kind of rules there. And then there's the third one when there's no rules at all. If you hold yourself back, you will cause more problems for yourself. So,
100%. Thank you. I
course, thank
appreciate
you.
y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No rule, no rule.